Hello everyone, welcome to day 19 of McDougall's Maximum Weight Loss Challenge. So I am actually making food now and going to take a nap and go to work. So day 19 is kind of just going to progress into tonight, but I'm making food now because it's easier for me to make it now and just have it ready to go later than for me to try to get up early and make it right before I go to work. So we are making a Mary McDougall recipe called Stovetop Stew. It says it's a simple hearty stew and you could serve it over a mound of brown rice or other whole grains. I don't see why you would even need to do that because it's got a whole bunch of potatoes in it. So this is a very basic recipe. It's got a bunch of spices in it, but this is a fairly basic recipe in terms of what's actually in it. So it should be things that you most of the time will have just hanging out around the house, so you could make this just about any time that you wanted to. So the first thing that goes into your pot, it says 2 to 3 potatoes chopped. That is 3 potatoes. We do buy russet potatoes, so they're fairly large. But I want this to have enough food that I can have some leftovers for a couple of days, and my husband's going to eat some for lunch. So I've got 3 potatoes that are put in the pot. It also calls for 1 onion chopped. That's what goes in the pot right now. 1 onion chopped, 2 carrots sliced, 2 stalks of celery sliced, and 1/2 teaspoon of minced garlic. So there is my onion that is chopped, and then you guys know I just use onions or carrots that are already shredded because it's just so much easier. So I'm going to put that in there. I did not have any celery. I actually threw it out the other day. It was really gross. So I'm just not even worried about that. Not a big issue at all. So no celery going in here this time, although it does say that you can put in any other vegetables that you would like. You just put them in, not right now, but you put them in after this cooks for the first time. So I'm going to chop up some enoki mushrooms to thirds and put them in there. And I'm also going to put in the rest of this bag of cauliflower simply because it's sitting in the refrigerator from making the edamame sliders last night. And yeah, so no big deal. And yeah, my kids loved those burgers. Oh my gosh, they were kind of gooey in the middle, but my kids loved them, thought they were like super awesome. So that was kind of exciting. Okay, so going to put in here onions, carrots, garlic, celery, potatoes. You're gonna cook this with 1/4 cup of water in it, which is not a whole lot of water, but the onions will definitely give off some liquid for sure. And cook that for about 10 minutes. And then you want to add the remaining ingredients, with the exception of the greens, and boil it with the cover on. You don't boil it, you reduce the heat. Yeah, you bring it to a simmer and reduce the heat, and then put the lid on it and cook it for 30 minutes after that. So I will come back and show you what all the rest of the ingredients are. There's quite a few more ingredients, but it's all just real basic, easy stuff. So I'm gonna go get this started, and then I will be back with you guys in just a few minutes. Okay guys, so after that's been cooking for about 10 minutes, you're going to add in your next set of ingredients. And I actually have just almost all of them right here in a little bowl, just measured out. It was super easy, just dump them all out in the bowl all at one time. But first thing you need is 1 can, 15-ounce can of tomato sauce, and ours has no salt added. Whatever you want is fine. It doesn't actually specify one way or the other. You'll want to put in 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. We use that 50% reduced sodium. 1 tablespoon of parsley flakes. Finally getting low on this stuff. It's amazing. And then you need 1/2 teaspoon of paprika. It does not say smoked paprika. That's the only kind that I have though. So either use smoked or use whatever you have, I guess. Maybe not a sweet paprika, but that's the only kind that I have. 1/2 teaspoon of basil. 1/2 teaspoon of chili powder, again from Sprouts in their bulk section. And then 1/4 teaspoon of ground dry mustard, 1/4 teaspoon of cumin, and 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. So once you mix your spices in, and then the tomato sauce and the tamari as well, you're going to you want to bring it to a boil, which there's not really much liquid going on, so for it to boil. But anyway, so you bring it to a boil, and then reduce the heat down so that it's just simmering, and put the lid on it, and you want to cook it for 30 minutes. After that's done, at the same time, I'm going to put in my enoki mushrooms and my cauliflower. And then after that's done cooking for 30 minutes, if you're going to add in greens, it calls for 1 cup of either spinach, chard, or kale. Whatever you have on hand is fine. I happen to have a bag of mixed spinach, chard, and kale. So I'm just going to grab a big huge handful out and put it in there when it's done. And it says to let that cook for 2 to 5 minutes in your soup when it's done. So anyways, that's it. It's really easy. This is super, super simple. A lot of Mary McDougall's recipes are really, really simple, to be honest with you, and they end up coming out and tasting really good. Like that deviled beans and greens that I had was really pretty straightforward, and it was awesome. So I'm looking forward to this one. I really hope that it's plain but delicious. we'll see. It does say that it's a stew, so you're not really adding hardly any liquid to this at all, which is okay. If it needs more what, I don't know, but if it needs more, you could use some broth of some sort to maybe thin it out a little bit, and then also to give it a little bit more flavor if it needs more flavor. But with this many spices, I don't think that it's going to need a whole lot more. So I'm going to go, and I've got just another minute before it's ready for me to put the next set of ingredients in, so I'm going to go and see what it's doing and put this stuff in there and get it simmering on low for 30 minutes, and I will be back with you guys when that's done to let you know if this is like something you need to make for tonight for supper. So I'll see you guys soon. Alrighty guys, stew is ready. So I did add a cup of water to it when I was cooking it because it was very not liquidy at all, and I was really worried it was going to burn and stick to the pan and stuff, so I put a cup of water in there. Maybe not quite a cup. I didn't measure it, but maybe about 3/4 of a cup. Anyway, somewhere right around in there. And it's very, very stewish. It is not liquidy at all. It's not soupy, so that didn't hurt anything at all. So this is good. It's very much like stew. It's just kind of plain. So if you're really used to having no salt in your food, this is going to be really good with the combination of the spices that are in there. If you're used to eating food that's a little bit salty, you might need to jazz this up a little bit. So I was thinking maybe a tiny little bit of the Better Than Bouillon no beef base might make it like really, really stewy. Just a pinch of salt on the top of it would probably take care of it as well. I am perfectly fine eating it the way that it is. My husband said that it tastes good. It's just not, you know, it's missing the salt, obviously. There's not a whole lot of salt going on there. It makes a lot. So it's got a big old pot of it in there, which is good because then I'll have food to take with me for a couple of days for work. Otherwise, I would say to definitely try and make this. It's just if you're used to food that has salt in it, it will be lacking just a little bit of just that extra little bit that salt makes stuff taste super flavorful. But it's got a really nice texture to it. It's got a really nice flavor to it. It's not super mushy, so cooking it didn't make it like the potatoes didn't dissolve or anything like that. So personally, I think just maybe a tiny little bit of the Better Than Bouillon no beef base would make a huge difference. Or like I said, just a tiny little pinch of salt across the top. Don't even shake it, just do a little tiny pinch across the top. I think that would make a very big difference. So anyway, that's it for me for now. I am going to go take a nap and start the rest of my day in a few hours when it's time to get up to go to work. So I will talk to you guys again, if not before I go to work, then I will talk to you guys again in the morning when I have breakfast. So I hope you guys are having a good one. I'll see you again soon. Alright guys, so quick recap for you. Last night I took 2 bowls of soup with me, and before I left I took a teaspoon of the Better Than Bouillon no beef base and mixed it in with a 1/4 cup of water and then split it between the 2 bowls, so it would have been about an extra 300 milligrams of sodium in each bowl. And that helped a lot. Like, it was really good. Very, very tasty actually. So if you're used to the totally no salt thing, this would be a really good recipe. If you're not used to it, you might want to add a little bit of the Better Than Bouillon when it's cooking, or just a tiny little bit to the end product as you eat it. Either way is fine. It was very good. My husband ate it for lunch yesterday, and he thought it was also very good. He did end up putting a little bit of the bouillon in it as well, and thought it was good that way. So anyways, I am home. I had a very small bowl of oatmeal because I am tired, but I wanted to ride the bike. So I did some dishes quick while it was cooking, and then I ate, and now I'm upstairs. So I'm going to ride the bike quick for a little bit, probably about a half hour, and then be on my way to bed because I'm very, very tired. So anyway, that was it for me for today. So yeah, I will see you guys again tonight for tomorrow. Have a good one, guys.